What's going on, blurs, nerds, and everybody in between? It's your boy Wyatt, the sensei of the syndicate, here with a an episode of What Had Happened Was. So this is our weekly episode where we kind of try to just talk about some of the things that have happened in entertainment, things that kind of matter to us over the last week or so. It's been a little bit longer than that, but we're glad to have you guys back here with us. So once again, I wanted to introduce the people that we have with us. I got James, our not so jolly giant, because if you mess with him, he knows some stuff. I'm just saying. So what's up, James? How you doing, man?
I'll lay on you, and I know a little bit of kung fu, and that's about it.
So you just gonna throw out there that you know kung fu? I didn't even know that, man. Uh, that's what's up. I'm really not messing with you this time. So I apologize if I offended you with my joke. KB, not the right hand, but the left hand of the Blur Syndicate. Those tiny fists of fury. How you doing today?
I'm good, man. I'm good. We're not gonna skate past the fact that James said he will lay on you. This man literally said he is a Snorlax when he is playing no game. That's hilarious.
Exactly. I just want to leave them alone altogether. So today we got some interesting topics to talk about. So the first big thing that was on here was like the writer strike that then ended up becoming not only the writer strike but also the actor strike. It's been kind of crazy. You know what I mean? It stopped a lot of productions already. One thing that I think some people will be really sad about to hear is it's halted production on Deadpool 3. So the one time that we get like Wolverine in a Wolverine costume is got slowed down just because of the strike from there. There were KB was saying beforehand that Oppenheimer had their opening and they got the news right then and there. Now, what happened, KB?
So Emily Blunt and Florence Pugh basically was letting everybody know if this strike goes through during our premiere, we leaving. And other cast members was like, "Dope, we leaving too." Then like we gonna do that. And I can't remember if it was like the director or a writer for Oppenheimer, one of the two was basically just giving an interview of how shocked he was that they actually walked like the premiere was going on, the strike went through, and Emily Blunt, Florence Pugh, and some other people was like, bye. They just walked out in the middle of what they was doing, just took off. And so the director, like he wasn't angry. He was just like, yo, really? That's y'all was serious then. Oh, okay. Like he was like, I get it. I'm proud of them. I didn't think they was gonna do it. That's their stance. And I just think this, like, honestly, this is dope to me. Because a lot of times when you get strikes like this, you don't get people in positions of any type of power at all or influence that really get involved. So, in like for me in memory, this is the first time where you're really seeing people who can really impact and affect change get involved in what's going on. Because if you don't have, like, granted, if you don't have writers, you're not getting stories, right?
Yeah,
But when you don't have your actors, when you don't have the people that are making millions, your movie not going nowhere.
absolutely.
So this is crazy to me. I love it.
I'm only worried about that. Like, I hopefully they don't have anybody that they did like in I think it was '08 when they had the writer strike, um, because they killed one of those shows that was really good. But then after that, it just came out in the wrong time. That show Heroes, that was really good. And they in that third season where they just didn't have the direction or they didn't have no offense to the writers of the ones who did season 3, but they didn't have you could tell that they were just kind of not they didn't have the talent to come along with it. So I'm tired of reality television. I wonder how it's going to affect anime. You know what I mean? Because anime is all the way over there in Japan. I understand, some folks may not be getting their dubbed editions, but us sub fans are going to be okay, or are we? I
I
wonder.
mean, I think it depends on how far into industry this ends up spreading out because if I'm not mistaken, I don't think this is just US based. I think it's not making the bigger waves overseas yet, but it's not just here.
Yeah. Yeah, depending on whether or not like those those people that do make the uh the different content that I like to enjoy, um if that touches them, or if they're even in that the writers guild or things like that, that's what I'm concerned about. James, how do you feel about this whole thing, man?
So I've been listening to the conversation through other YouTubers and talking about it, trying to get a general scope of the entire situation. And I really truly don't know whose side to pick, because it seems like there's different people involved with the actors that are in the wrong. There's different people involved with the CEOs of the companies that are in the wrong. What is it? Tom Cruise had released a video that I was listening to earlier about how these actors need to do more to promote their movies and stuff like that. They can't just sit on their laurels and expect, like the the movie industry and the advertisements to do all the work for them. They actually have to step up and do more than what they're doing right now, instead of just sitting around asking for more money. So that opened up a whole nother can of worms that I didn't even think about. Like, I don't know if, all of the actors that are like on strike are actually on strike because they're struggling. You know what I'm saying? If they're not, what their true intentions are. So, like, on the one hand, I see that there are people striking because they want better wages and everything like that. And then on the other hand, I'm seeing the media complaining that they're going on strike and it's putting other movies and other productions behind, and so on and so forth. So, like, things are flying around left and right, and I'm just trying to figure out, like, what really is going on right now beyond them striking.
Yeah. Well, man, my thing is, like, if you listen to some of the things that I think some of the writers and some of the actors are asking for, um, a lot of the studios have a lot of power, to be honest with you, man. Like, the one thing that the studios were saying for even like the actors guild is like something to the extent of, like, say for instance, if you're an extra, and they pay you for a day's worth of work, but then they can be able to use your face and use AI for multitude of projects. And then after that, you only get paid for that one day of work, but you could be showing up as an extra on the Avengers 9 movie, or the Fast and Furious 11 or 15, with how many ever they stop at. So, like, things like that, where the studios are doing things like that, or, like, say for instance, even with the writers, where the studios were like, hey, we're going to use AI to start writing certain scripts, and then just kind of taking some of the you know artistry that comes along with it out of the out of movie making and things like that. um I don't think that's always right. Like, I understand there's certain people, there's always the extremes, and to me, I don't really care about Tom Cruise, because Tom Cruise is set. You know what I'm saying? He's making billions of millions of dollars with his, he makes whatever movies he wants to, and does some crazy ass shit, jumping out of planes, airplanes, helicopters, motorcycles, and all the rest of it. So, like, he's getting to do what he wants, and like, I understand. Um, Nowadays, man, they ask more of actors. You know what I mean? Like, you have to be able. It's not just about promoting a movie. You have to promote a brand, and also with promoting that brand, they have to let a lot more people in. And so, I mean, I understand saying, yeah, okay, we got to do this to promote the movie, but Tom Cruise is, he's making money. You know what I mean? He's on the back end of whatever else he's making. So I kind of take what he says
Right.
with a little bit of, hey, come on now, bro. Like, we're not talking about you. We know that you getting yours. You know what I mean? But not everybody is at Tom Cruise's level.
No,
Right.
but I don't know who it was, but who was the actress that basically tweeted out like the residual checks that she's getting from a Disney Plus show, and she's getting like $38, and she is main cast for that show.
Hmm.
Like, so is you got the Tom Cruise level of things, and then you have the actors who honestly aren't getting paid what some of their co-stars are getting
Hmm.
for more extensive work. Like
And that
it's crazy.
and that's crazy too to me because it's like um there was a writer who actually wrote the episode of he was like a writer on the episode of She-Hulk, the one episode where Daredevil came back, and he was like, my residual check for this is $396. And you
I heard
know,
about that one.
yeah, and I realize, man, like I get it that not everybody, you're not gonna be a millionaire off of one script, you know what I mean? But
Mm.
I don't think you should have to worry about making just that kind of money, like that small amount of money, especially in on out west, because west everything is hella more expensive. So you know what I mean. 396 is like probably like $100 to us. You know what I mean over here. So I mean and I understand it may not be verbatim, but like that's just a lot of stuff where it's crazy from. So I get it, you know what I mean? But then also um I feel like these studios are making bank off of these IPs, and they want to break bread. And I get it, it's a business, but in the same instance, it has to be more, give and take as well in that one. So um so what else y'all think? What do y'all think about that? Cool.
I find it interesting that we keep having to have writer strikes.
Hmm.
Like, this is what, the 3rd or 4th one that we've had in our lifetime?
Yeah, at least third.
And yeah, and it's like you advocate for change, you get change, but it's almost like they're
It's not
not
permanent.
yeah, it's not even that it's not permanent. It's kind of like how you're dealing with like wage issues today, right? Where it's like, okay, clearly things have changed, but the amount of money that people are bringing home has not kept up with the amount of cost for everything.
Hmm.
So it's like, okay, we go on a strike, we get our demands met, and then the scope changes so widely within the next decade that we're having to go on strike again because you just are not wanting to keep up with the scope of life for us. Like, don't get me wrong, some of those people are still making way more money than we will see, right? But
Hmm.
that's because of the field that they're in, because of the things that they do. Like, they're worth that money. When
Yeah.
you look at how much entertainment and how much value these movies represent, when you look at the work that goes into it, they could definitely stand to be paid more.
And the fact that it's a change from, say, for instance, even 15 years ago, everybody having cable to having streaming services and having original content on streaming services. But then because that's not really covered, or that wasn't in that kind of that bargaining agreement at the time, people are like, oh well, now that that's gone on, um we don't really need to pay you like that. We don't need to pay you like you're producing a 22, 24 episode season. And so, there's some people that make really good content that aren't getting paid. And it's crazy, that they're having to take pennies on the dollar, you know what I mean, produce stuff that we really appreciate, but then not be able to, help and kind of take care of the things that they need to. So it's it's crazy, but talking about actors walking out, we're gonna kind of pivot and talking about fans walking out on a particular movie, and that movie is The Flash. The Flash, it's got mixed reviews. It's got some good stuff, some bad stuff. Uh, I just James, have you seen the movie?
No, no, I'm
Okay.
still waiting for it to stream. I found out that it's not even streaming on Max or HBO Max, whatever it's called now, because they changed the name again.
Yeah.
And I find that incredibly hilarious. That they won't put it on their own streaming service. Uh, Like I'm all good for Michael Keaton and everything, being Batman, and the whole Flashpoint style storytelling. But like, I still can't get over Ezra Miller,
Yeah.
and I think that really hurts the movie as a whole.
It reminds me of people who go and like, you know how people stopped listening to R. Kelly because then after that they was like, I can't support him.
Mhm.
He did the same thing with Ezra Miller, and uh, I mean, there were some people that went to go see it, and then like just there's some people that still listen to R. Kelly, but uh, you know, I think it really soured the movie, and then the fact that certain people were like, oh, okay, it's cool, I would have him back in this movie. Really, it's crazy to me.
It's like I would think that the people that support Ezra Miller would, like be out in droves to see this movie and everything. And I hear that like certain parts of the movie are good. It's just the Ezra Miller part. Like, can I spoil stuff? Because I've watched a couple of reviews on the movie, so I have a basic gist of what happens in the movie.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen it. We can talk about it to a certain extent. For those who haven't seen it, this would be your moment to come back about 5-10 minutes. We'll be back off of it. But what you got for us?
So I have to hand it to Ezra Miller. He was very clever in how he inserted himself into this movie, and I understand why they couldn't reshoot it.
I don't think that was his choice. I think it was just how they made the movie. Like, cause like he doesn't have a choice on how they shoot stuff, but I think they didn't just like say for instance with Mira, I forget her name. She was the one that was shitting on Johnny Depp's bed. When people
Oh,
want Amber something.
Amber Heard.
Yes. Like I think they didn't want to they didn't have high hopes for it in the first place. So then they were just like, we'll just throw it out there and just see what happens.
No, I think they really did have high hopes for this movie, and it just shit the bed. That I hate that I said that given what you said about Amber Heard just now. I
Yeah,
hate
you
myself for
see?
that
You see?
so much, but I couldn't stop.
There we go.
I'm so mad at myself for that statement. So
There we
angry.
go.
But no. Um, the movie in and of itself, the biggest issue really is the CGI. Like
Mhm.
it just looked bad. The storytelling wasn't fantastic, and I don't think that Urza did a terrible job. Like they did what they were supposed to do. I the whole reason I went to see the movie is because somebody else bought my ticket. Like I love
Mhm.
Flash, but I couldn't support Urza. Somebody else paid for the ticket, so I was like, sure, why not? And I wish I could get a refund for somebody else's money. It just wasn't a good movie. Um, it just I felt like the way that they put it together, the villain actually weakened the story. And it was weird to have that happen.
I think so. I think DC movies are not as bad as people make them feel or sound. I just think that, yeah, I don't think so.
Turn on
Like,
my camera just so you can see my face.
I'm understanding you, but like, I think, like, say for instance, Black Adam. Black Adam wasn't a horrible movie, but it wasn't a great movie. But I think
I didn't see that one.
the thing I think that happens is they overpromise and they underdeliver. So, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
Everybody was saying that this Flash was going to be the thing that, turned everything around. Like Aquaman was going to be a movie that turned everything around. Like nobody wants to take the time. And I feel like in DC and Warner Brothers to just say, hey, we're building, like we're growing, and give us a little grace. They just want to make everything like it's A plus, and it's not. And so people get tired of having people say, yeah, this is going to be, the best thing since, this, or this can compete with MCU, growing, 10, 12 movies before we got a group together. Like everything felt like it was thrown together, and like they thought they were cooler than what they were, if that makes any sense. Like, Superman, Batman by themselves are great characters, but like you have to develop the dynamic, and especially because they kept switching out, you've switched out Batman how many times? You've switched out Superman, not as many, but you know what I mean? The last Superman movie, I like Superman Returns. I like the fact that Kevin Spacey shanked Superman. So I thought that was really awesome that like he and further lets me know that like Superman just needs to take some self-defense classes because his powers go out too much and he keeps getting pieced up. And at some point you got to learn how to fight just like regular.
Hate him. So, no, he
So,
doesn't have to learn how to do anything. He can get put in the dirt just like everybody else can. Also, shout out to Kevin Spacey just because not only did he shank Superman, which bravo, sir, but he's been acting for a very long time and he usually plays superb roles. Cause I was rewatching Seven and
mhm.
completely creeped me out. So yeah, shout outs to Kevin Spacey.
I don't like the fact that you shouted him out for shanking Superman just for shanking Superman. I mean, I have a little bit of a problem with it.
We'll be
Um,
alright.
but
Kevin Spacey's a great actor, though. I can
yeah,
I can totally see it.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he did a great job. But I just feel like every time they over like they're like, oh man, this is gonna be the best thing. You know what I mean? And like even when they were doing it like with Superman Returns, they were trying to battle with X-Men. Let X-Men be great. I mean, sometimes the X-Men aren't great. I'm looking at you, X-Men 3, X-Men Dark Phoenix, X-Men Apocalypse. I'm
We
looking
don't
at
talk
you.
about Dark Phoenix.
Yeah, I'm talking about all of those. Uh,
And
but
still better movies than Superman or Spider-Man 3, but okay.
yes, and yeah,
I knew that
James,
was coming.
James and Spider-Man 3 being in number 7. That's crazy. Crazy. So, um, but yeah, I don't think that they took the time to really develop and to have us grow with the characters. They just assumed that we would just love them and throw all of our money at them because that's what we did in the 90s with Batman.
But I mean, that's what DC has done almost the entire time. Like they have very rarely taken the time to develop their characters. That's why I think Marvel for so long worked as well as they did because they actually developed those stories. As yes, we know the comics. We like the characters because we like the comics, but they actually gave you a body of work for each character that was in the forefront of what they were doing. Whereas, DC is just saying, here's Aquaman, here's Batman, here's
Mhm.
this lame man who wears red and blue. Like, here's
Come
this,
on, bro. You can't keep.
like,
Come on.
I'm gonna do what I want and you can't stop me.
Oh,
But like they're just throwing these characters at us with no type of connection to them whatsoever aside from their name in a comic. They're not building anything, they're just throwing things at you, and that's why it isn't working.
I agree. Um, so I was talking to KB, and KB was saying when we were talking about the Flash, she said her favorite Flash was Wally, and I had to ask her,
Hey,
is it
no,
like
hold on.
what
Time
what
out.
what,
What was
what?
that scoff? What's wrong with Wally, James?
No, I'm actually happy that we like the same Flash character. I was gasping
Okay,
because you
okay.
don't like my take on Spider-Man 3, so I was like, wait a minute.
Your take on Spider-Man
I
3
like
is highly debated. I'm gonna be honest with you. Just gonna be honest with you.
so I was curious if other things we liked would be okay. Like
Okay.
I know
Got
I
you.
have
Got
some
you.
outrageous takes, but like you said Wally and I gasped because I like the
Okay.
black version of Wally, but I grew up with the redheaded Wally. So it kind of like transitioned into me liking that version too, if that
And
makes
like
any sense.
Black Wally is okay, but redhead Wally West is the superior Wally West. And not to ruin your moment, Sensei, but this is exactly where we were transitioning.
Yeah.
Stop giving us black folks reimagined. Stop it. I don't like this trend. I don't like you giving me something to placate me. Like Miles Morales is dope because he is not a black and Hispanic Peter Parker. He is his own separate guy from all of this. But when you give me Black Wally West, all you turned around and did was say, "Oh, this man was troubled and he was stealing and he needed a If you don't stop giving me your there's a what prejudice bullshit, I don't want that. I don't want it. I don't want it. I don't
What
want a
is it?
black Superman. I don't like Superman. So I definitely don't want to see him identify with white people. All right? I don't want a black Cyclops. I don't which is coincidentally, I feel like that's what Bishop was supposed to be. And then they realized the error of their ways and gave us his own character. But like stop giving us bare minimum.
That's mildly disappointing if that's the case. Because I think Bishop is a really good character.
I think
That's what
he
I'm
is.
saying. I feel
Yeah,
like originally he wasn't supposed to be, and he turned out to be a really good one. So I like Bishop. But if you look at how like certain things played out with him at first, he really was a black Scott Summers, and it was weird.
Yeah, that's that leaves
It
a
was
weird
like it
mouth
was like
taste in
it
my
was
mouth.
like the very beginning of Bishop. Like when they first brought him in, it did not last long. But if you go back and look, like go back and pick up try to find the comics where they first brought him in, and he reads very much like Scott Summers in a different font.
hmm.
Yeah, yeah. I'm happy with the
Bro,
version I got from the animated TV show. Really
it
grumpy, really
it
pissed
feels
off with
disgusting though.
things. That's my
I
version of Bishop.
I think race swapping doesn't doesn't benefit us. I think I think honestly, I understand um, having representation really does matter, but I think there's a difference between representation and just kind of pandering.
And
Um,
trying to get people's money.
yeah. Like
Being
I
lazy.
yeah, like so say for instance, I use the Flash and the Arrowverse as a template of stuff like I don't think what is it? Iris was a bad choice as far as that's concerned. Um I you know, like to be honest, I think you can be able to like some of the like the smaller characters, the support roles, they don't really matter to me, and they don't and to to most people they don't really matter. So like the love interest of the Flash, the main character, it doesn't really matter to me. But like changing a person, I think the dynamic on which they have certain things, um, it doesn't really help. It doesn't really benefit anything. You know what I mean? Like except for hey, now we have this person and now they have a really cool suit because now we'll put in did you ever notice whenever they have black people, they always put more yellow in it, like we got more chains
Yep,
on?
yep. It's just weird. The
I
like
don't
when they first introduced Wally's suit with the weird chin strap. I don't know if it still had it because I stopped watching Flash
yeah.
after season 4 because it was getting kind of weird and everything. I'm the fastest man alive. First episode gets his ass beat by somebody who's way faster than him
Mhm.
somehow, and I I don't know, but yeah, the costumes for the black characters are kind of weird.
Yeah. I think if you look at even say for instance, I'm going to use Harley Quinn as an example because Harley Quinn was made to be able to fill a void in Batman the animated series, and then ended up taking on a life of her own. And that was something where rather than just okay, we're going to make this character into something else, they made a whole new character and developed it. But I also would love to see like people of color be able to make more characters that do have that. So I understand that that's a bigger conversation of being in other spaces that we don't have. Which shout out to Dwayne McDuffie for having his own universe and things like that. Especially with Static Shock and things. But I think that's where some of those real big changes come from. And then also being able to give other people a shot at a character. Um, or get more shine in their character's life. Like, just give me an origin story. The black guy, that origin. Give me something like that. Just give me somebody different. I'm
I
tired of
mean,
seeing
Yeah.
and like give them a different backstory. Not all black superheroes have to be impoverished or come from a bad background or anything like that. Um, Shoot, I'm trying to think of an example of a black superhero that doesn't have like a bad backstory.
Static is pretty good from what they've done now with his reimagining. Like he's got both parents in the house, and they're a family that sticks together. But yeah, like you said, it just doesn't need to be, hey, we need, this person was down on their luck and they didn't have anywhere else to turn.
Did
No,
y'all read the kind of, I don't think it was What If, but it was like Miles Morales re-envisioned, but he was Thor. Did y'all read that at all?
I
I
did.
That's
didn't read it, but I saw it explode on Twitter that
I
he
yeah.
was talking like he was from the '90s, and it was kind of cringy.
It wasn't even just that. This man said by Odin's fade when he swung his hammer. Mind you,
So
Odin, his dad, did not have a fade. He was bald in this. There was no fade, bro. He he would spin his hammer and say, "Let's spin these hits," as he was swinging it. It was so bad. It literally felt like it was written by that person that sits. You know how like when you go to school and you in the cafeteria and all the black
Hmm.
people are at the table laughing and joking and having a good time, and everybody's kind of
Hmm.
like around. It really felt like that one kid that sat close to the black table and was listening to how they were talking, but couldn't quite catch the tone. And so they just decided to write something like, I think this is how the black youth talks. That's what that felt like to me. I hated it.
Did he have like
I,
stickers all over his hammer too?
Bruh, it was so bad.
so
It was
I'm not.
just weird.
So I'm gonna be honest. I like the aesthetic of him. Like I thought Loki was like he was looked pretty cool. I didn't
The
really.
art was dope. It was the
Yeah,
story that was the problem.
yeah. I'm not gonna lie. I bought it just to skim through like the aesthetics of it, so I didn't really pay attention to all of that. But now that everybody was like, "Oh, okay, well, this is what he looked like, or this is what was going on," then I was like, oh, damn." You know what I mean? Because I had put myself out there at one point. I'm not gonna lie, I put it out. And I was like, because I hadn't read the book over, but then I just skimmed over it, and I was like, "Oh, it's not bad," and then
Yeah,
it
you
was
tried to
bad.
defend it. I remember that.
Yep, yep,
You
it was bad.
you literally spent, this was the funniest shit to me. You spent a good 3 minutes trying to defend it. Like you tried. And then and I asked you because I said, "Did you read it yet?" And you said, "No, like he just looks right." I said, "That's not what we're talking about. Just read it."
Mm,
And you went and I think you maybe just skimmed one part of it and you were like, "Oh no, I can't defend this." And I was like, "Exactly. Stop it. You're trying to be a good person and I appreciate that, but no."
yeah,
Versus the thing that they've been doing lately with like what is it, Miles Morales and I think Gwen Stacy too, is that they've been swapping their characters out and everything, and it kind of feels like Marvel is trying to find the next big thing that will stick. Almost like they're running out of ideas, and I would really like for them to just stick with what they've got and just keep writing stories. It
here's the
doesn't
thing.
always have to.
I disagree with you, man. Like I don't mind them trying to find the niche of the next person because I'm truth be told, nobody before the MCU, nobody was really checking for Iron Man like that. Nobody was really checking for Captain America like that. But like it took a
Uh,
little bit of like people knew who they were, but they weren't like when you said like give me your top five, superheroes, like Captain America wasn't in there. Iron Man wasn't in there. So like I don't mind them trying to develop other characters and see what works and what doesn't. Um,
I don't know if I agree with that statement at all. Who were you talking to that wasn't? I will give you Cap. Cap is almost no one's favorite, but Tony Stark,
not a
he's not my
no,
favorite. Like, don't.
no,
Oh, like,
so no, I'm not saying
I'm not.
so
I'm not
listen.
advocating for Tony Stark. I don't. I'm not an Iron Man
Okay,
fan. I
time,
feel like
time,
I'm
time
extremely
out for a sec,
biased.
KB. Time out. Hold on, because I feel like you're about to let it torrent out. Uh, what I meant was is like reimagining them as a different character, and then
That's
going from
not.
there.
Oh, no, no, no. I
Oh,
wasn't talking about you. I was talking
he was talking
about
about me.
specifically
Oh,
Wyatt saying no one was checking for these characters.
They
I
weren't checking. They weren't checking for like if you look at Iron that people knew who Iron Man was from the '90s babies because they had the Iron Man cartoon, right?
yeah, that
But
thing was
yeah,
badass. That theme song.
absolutely. I'm not disagreeing with y'all on that. But when it came to like for real, like mainstream people knowing who Iron Man was or having him be a favorite, like it wasn't like that.
Iron Man has consistently been like a top 5 superhero
Yeah,
or
but he
top 10
wasn't
list,
really
though.
outside
That
of the Avengers. He wasn't really like a standalone family name before the movies came out. Like
that's what I'm saying.
hardcore Marvel fans that grew up with that stuff back in the Silver. I think it was the Silver Age. Knew about the team and everything. So the younger generation didn't know anything about it. Not really.
Mm,
I
I
mean,
don't
us
know.
'90s kids and stuff knew about it.
Yeah, we knew about it because
I feel like y'all are not giving. Ew, this feels gross. But I feel like y'all are not giving Tony Stark his proper due. Because as much as I hate Superman, I'm gonna go out here and say if you were to run a top 10 list, Superman, Batman, and Iron Man and Spider-Man are probably rounding out your top like 4 of the top 5 and have been
Just Spider
consistently
Man.
for more than the last like 2 decades. Like they because
well,
those are the most well-known superheroes. Like I said, Cap, I'm gonna give you that because I feel like outside of the Avengers, Cap himself wasn't really that big, but Iron Man and Thor are probably the 2 most well-known Avengers point blank period. So Iron Man's going to be there. Like he was very much in people were waiting to see who was going to be cast as Tony Stark before this even kicked off.
I get that part, but like as far as that's in like the niche of like people who read comic books or had some kind of experience with it. Now, folks who have no idea besides Robert Downey Jr. being Iron Man or Tony Stark, they didn't know about Iron Man for real like that.
But I mean, you could make that argument for any superhero if you really want to get into that.
But like but I'm saying before his movies came out, like I think like Superman is Superman, Batman, Spider-Man, and then I think as far as the Justice League, um, okay, I'll put it to you this way: I when it came a group of people that was a team, there was like for for Marvel, it wasn't the Avengers, it was the X-Men. So then you had people like Wolverine in there that was kind of marking out like maybe like the top 5 as far as that's concerned. All right, Sir said he's with UKB. Niggas knew who Tony Stark was, especially in '90s hip hop.
Wait, what?
Right. I think it was his backstory that people didn't really know as far as Tony, but they knew Tony Stark because he like that billionaire status. People were talking about it often. Him, Batman, Superman, and Spider-Man, like those were it.
I
So
I would say I would say more like Batman, Superman, Spider-Man, and then I would say like Wolverine would probably be next. Up until
absolutely not.
you don't think Wolverine was more popular in the '90s and early 2000s than Iron Man?
I think he's only more popular if you're being biased. He's only more popular if you were more of an X-Men fan than an Avengers fan because speaking in 100% biasy, I'm picking Wolverine every time. He's a short man with anger issues, right up my alley.
Yeah,
Like, come
that's
on.
angry.
I was
But
shaking my head, by the way, because you guys can't see what I'm doing. So I'm agreeing with the bias statement. I can see that if somebody mainly reads like just X Men, then of course they would be biased about their favorite character versus any other character.
Do you think X-Men or Avengers were more popular up until like we'll say like the 2010s?
as as a group, I think the X-Men are more popular. But
Mhm.
when you separate it out, Tony Stark, aside from Thor and Hulk, he's your most popular Avenger. That's why he got the movie first. Because he was the most well-known face out of them.
I
I
Because
can
think
think
see that.
about it, Robert Downey Jr. was his comeback from drug addiction and all of that stuff that he
mhm,
had going on. So it wasn't like they picked him because he was the most famous actor. They picked Tony Stark because they needed a name that was well known to kick this whole thing off.
mhm.
That's why you got him as opposed to like another Spider-Man film because Sony was still dealing with all of that stuff. But there's a reason why it kicked off the way that it did, and there's a reason why it was Tony. He's the most recognizable of the Avengers aside from a Hulk or Thor. And the only reason people even know who Hulk is because you had people making Incredible Hulks. You had
That
them making the
and the show. Do 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 do. It
right,
was up
but
there. It
even
was up
then,
there.
like that show kind of petered out when our parents were like our age now. So I'm not
Yeah.
But you watched the reruns though. You knew Lou Ferrigno was over there smashing the shit out of folks. But anyways, I think also so I think it was a more calculated risk because first of all they didn't have the Hulk. They didn't have that because Universal still had them, so they couldn't go to the Hulk. And it was really difficult to be able um to kind of tell a good story of like, and at the time I think they were all grounded stories, so you can't have a really grounded story with a Norse god. And I think you could have one with Captain America, but like you said, Captain America is not as popular as Iron Man. So like, and then they couldn't do anything with Spider-Man. So I think they were kind of stuck with Iron Man. I'm not going to say that Iron Man was trash because I don't believe that, but I feel like he was the best in the situation that they had because they couldn't do anything else with anything.
I feel like you being a Superman really does color the way you're talking about this, but okay.
You've been talking shit about Superman all tonight.
And I'm gonna continue.
I have a Superman tattoo on my shoulder, and you continually just
And that sounds like something you need to get covered up. It sounds more like a disease than an actual thing to get out of.
I I
Okay,
don't
so
appreciate
to
you.
to
Don't appreciate you right now.
to
But okay.
Wyatt's to Wyatt's to compliment Wyatt's love of Superman. My dad was a huge Superman stan. Um, he loved him up and down the wall, and he would tell me about the comics and everything. So in my early life, the first superhero I knew was Superman, just because my dad loved him so much.
Now,
So
don't get me
if I
wrong.
had to
Go ahead.
if I had to choose between Superman and Iron Man, I would choose Superman just because of the bond that I share with my father over that character. Now, if it was just any other day, Spider Man. I don't care what nobody says. Spider Man and his spider sense kicks Superman's ass all across the board any time of the day.
I
So
So here's my thing. My Superman thing. I understand he's not he wasn't created very well, and like so I'm fine with that. I'm cool with the fact that Superman is like the character itself is not very entertaining after a while because if you're always, what I mean, they I had to have something to put up against him. Um but I, I just appreciated the fact that he was always trying to do his best no matter what.
Can
Um,
I ask you a question?
sure. What's up?
Who gets beat by the color yellow?
Huh?
Who gets beat by the color yellow?
Who gave a what? What to
Who gets beat by the color yellow? Who does
Green
that?
That's
Lantern?
Hal Jordan.
Green Lantern.
Superman also was weak to the color yellow at one point. That was a weakness
Was
that they
he?
wrote in.
Well, here's the thing.
Yes.
I think that the
Wait,
people that made comics
Hmm.
at that time didn't have
he has
no
a yellow. He has
yeah.
a yellow crest on his chest.
Uh-huh.
Was he weak to
Well,
his
well,
own
welcome,
color?
welcome to things that did not make sense.
Listen, Superman had so much stuff they had to make up stuff. I'm gonna be honest with you because like they were like, shit, we don't know what to do. All right, let's make him weak to master magic. Everybody can't have magic. What you said, like a magician, Alakazam is gonna kick his ass? No. So like they didn't know what
I,
to do, and especially in the 40s and 50s, I think they were running out of ideas. They were just like, we don't know what to do. He can be able to stop trains, bullets, everything else. We got to give him something stupid to be
The most pointless superhero in existence.
I mean, I knew in the Silver Age he had every superpower. Like Silver Age Superman is busted,
yeah.
but I didn't know he was weak to the color yellow. What? What?
Yeah, it's
I don't even remember who wrote that. I just know it was a thing that they did with him, and I was so irritable. It was that, and then there was where they basically his weakness to kryptonite was basically a mental handicap. He was never actually weak to kryptonite, but he was always told that he was weak to kryptonite. And therefore, when somebody finally told him, "Hey, this is all in your head. You're not at the one weakness he actually does have." They're like, "Oh no, that's not really a thing for you." They're like, I hate this man. Like,
hate the
I'd
writers.
rather
Hate the writers.
I'd rather underdog come and save me than Superman. I would rather drink
So you're in
bleach.
Lex Luthor's corner.
Listen, yes, I am firmly.
I can't stand y'all. Uh, I can't stand y'all. Hey, so let's get back on talking about how shitty the Flash was real quick. Um, I hate I hate the fact that Michael Keaton did a really good job, right? But
He
then they
did.
were like, "Hey, if the Flash does really, really well, then they're going to give us a Batman Beyond movie." That's what they told. That's what the studios told some of the producers. And I think that
Bribery.
that's such bullshit. Like, how are you going to saddle me with this piece of shit, and then after that be like, hey, you got to have this in order to be able to do this? It's like your parents telling you got to eat your vegetables before you can have your dessert. But I'm a grown ass man. I don't want asparagus right now. I can take a salad, but you're not gonna give me just this shit, and I don't want
Listen, I just know that Batgirl could not have tested worse than this movie did, and yet you
it.
scrapped her movie. You cannot convince me that this movie did well enough for y'all to not be like, let's cut our losses in testing. And but other movies did. Nah, I don't buy that. Y'all are sexist. Give us the Batgirl movie. We deserve it at this point. You gave us all this other
Wasn't the
trash. You might as well
Batgirl
add
movie
more.
already done when they scrapped
Yes,
it too?
yes.
Basically, it was like 70% done, I think, if
They
not more.
they were editing and they were putting in the effects, and so like all the acting had been done on like, and what was it? Brendan Fraser was coming back, and so he was going to be Firefly, and they were like, not so much. So then that's why they stopped it. They just was like, okay, well we're just we don't think it's going to test well. But they kept the what was it, Black Adam, and they also kept Shazam, which I was disappointed in too, because
Oh,
like,
the second one? Oh yeah, yeah.
yeah, but I blame The
That
Rock on that one, and I'm a big Rock fan, but I blame The Rock on that one because he didn't want to do like a Shazam movie and then be Black Adam. So what they should have done was have Black Adam show up in Shazam 2, and that should have been the big bad, and then they could have moved over to him having his own solo movie, but he didn't want to play ball like that.
would have made more sense that way because the story that they gave us and how the plot went. I was I was more bored watching Shazam 2 than I was watching the first Shazam.
Yeah, so that's
I didn't watch either one.
don't worry, you didn't miss anything.
Why do you sound so sad about it?
Because so here's what happened. Here's what happened. I want to start this by saying that I recognize with full bias that I am not a true DC fan, right?
Mm.
So, with that being said, I know absolutely nothing about Shazam. But when I saw the previews and I saw what he looked like in his big old muscle suit, I was immediately like thrown by the whole movie and didn't want to see it because it just looked bad. And that's kind of where I stayed with it. Even seeing the preview for the second one, I didn't get used to it. And I feel like I'm missing out on what could be a genuinely good time by the fact that I'm just thrown off by the aesthetic of the film.
It was
Trust your instincts, KB. There's nothing wrong.
to me,
You're not missing much.
to me here, I felt like it was a lighthearted, like if you gave a kid superpowers, this is what would happen. And um and that wasn't bad. Like it was a different tone than what all the other DC movies were. So I was cool with it. So that's what I didn't mind that one. So we got the chef Gambit Le Biche. Uh he's here. So
Well,
what's going on, Gambit?
Hello, hello. How you doing, family?
Man, good.
doing
What's
all right. How
good?
you doing?
I'm excellent. I've been gone, but I'm back.
Good to have you, man.
It's good.
So have you seen the Flash movie?
I have not. Um, I've been very occupied around things like that. But you remember I asked y'all about it in the chat, and I've been talking. Of course, our circle of friends, we all in the Marvel, DC, things like that. And honestly, man, I have not gotten any reviews on it. Honestly, I haven't gotten any good reviews.
The CGI was not great.
I keep hearing stuff about the babies being bad.
Man,
What's
them
wrong with the babies?
ugly ass babies. So
Baby,
Yeah.
you remember?
it was some ugly ass babies.
Wait.
Hold on. Okay, I got the perfect one for you. You remember in the 90s where they had that dancing baby in the commercial? Do
Yeah.
you remember
Oh
that commercial?
God.
Yes.
Those babies look like that.
Oh. How much money did they spend on the CGI? And they still look like shit.
It was so bad. But no, what kills it for me, it wasn't that it looked bad. It was that this was a deliberate choice because they said they meant for it to look this way.
Wow.
That's bullshit.
Listen.
Yeah, I'm gonna be real with you. I ain't even see Transformers.
No,
I
I
saw it.
haven't seen it either. Don't talk about it.
no,
I
no.
want to
I'm
see
not. I'm not talking about you. I saw lightning flash outside. Sorry. Continue.
Oh, I saw it. It was cool. You got to check it out. It's it's a step in the right direction.
Oh,
Um, I don't. So here's the one thing I don't like about the Flash. I don't
It's
like
okay.
how he runs.
what?
I think he's stupid how he runs. He starts off
Thank you.
with a foot in the air, like he's like running like this, like he doesn't keep his feet down. You know what I'm saying? Like
Wait, time out. Is he actually running like the Flash would run, or is he doing that weird swimmy wavy bullshit he was doing before?
it's almost like
doing the
he's
same baby
sliding.
bullshit.
Yeah,
Wait,
it's
so did
almost
y'all
like he's
watch the
sliding.
show? Quick interjection. Did y'all watch the show? Is it
It's the show was way better. Like
I heard the show was amazing.
Yeah,
well,
Grant Gustin is an amazing Flash. I don't know why they didn't get him to come and do this version.
You know they're
nah,
not gonna do that.
yeah, they're not go. That would mean that they had a bad choice. So like one thing that I've always realized about like the studios, they're never going to admit that they're wrong. So they're
Right.
just going to be like, oh, okay, well, we'll just change it on the next one. We won't admit that we messed up on this one. So,
Right.
but yeah, I don't like how he runs. I don't. It's like almost like he's gliding, but then all of a sudden, like his foot is all in the air when he takes off, and it just doesn't look right.
Wow. Well, Big Bro has.
Okay. I mean,
Now look though, I heard it was a lot of cameos in Flash.
so
Yeah, the cameos kind of saved the entire movie, basically.
Really?
mhm. So here's my thing with the cameos. Like to me, it comes to a point where it's almost like it's pandering to us. You know what I mean? It's pulling on those like nostalgia strings. And don't get me wrong, Michael Keaton is probably the best part of this movie. But when it comes to that, like it's supposed to be a Flash movie, you're supposed to be moving forward and not back. So you got all these type of Batman in here, but you don't have any substance. You know what I mean? So like you're still just playing off of the fact that you got all this money to hire these other actors, but you're not doing anything with it.
James, is you opening chips or something?
I left my charger in the car, and I'm outside in the rain. I was just hoping you guys wouldn't be able to hear me moving around, but I guess that didn't work out. My bad.
You good, family?
So yeah, man. I don't know. It just to me, the Flash is like there's a lot of potential. Mine is getting Ezra Miller out of there. Like I feel like at some point you just got to make a stand and be like, all right, listen, check this out. I'm not doing anything. Like you got to let him go, do something else.
That's good, but
So,
you got
I doubt they will. They're probably just gonna shelf the Flash and hope everybody forgets about it. Like what's his face said, the one director. Yes, I got the mail earlier. I left it on the kitchen table for you.
so
But
yeah.
oh yeah, go ahead, White. I'm sorry.
No, you were saying?
Um, one of the I'm all winded walking up the hill. My bad. One of the advertisers was saying something along the lines of, "Yeah, the Flash movie is going to be really good, and I hope it makes everybody forget about all the crazy crap that Ezra Miller was doing." But by them saying that, they brought everything that Ezra Miller was doing back up, and I think that's one of the main components to why the movie failed as much as it did, because they made them remember and me that Ezra Miller is crazy and has been getting away with a bunch of batshit crazy things,
Yep.
and I don't want to give him my money.
Yeah, I just didn't want to give him my money. I waited till it came out on digital, and was able to see that.
wait, so it's out?
I think it's out on digital.
I think it's on Paramount.
Wow, that was okay.
Yep. So what I did, I watched it, and it was cool. It was cool to watch it for free. That's what I'm saying. It was great to watch it for free.
Let me ask this: are we discussing bad playwriting and screenwriting, or are we just going from movie to movie? Like, have y'all gone over some good playwriting and screenwriting that y'all?
We haven't done that. We may talk about that later because we came coming on that good old hour
I got you.
of time. But what I'm gonna do next time, I'm gonna have us make a top 5 list of worst superhero movies.
God damn it!
And then see what's on
I'm
there.
like get roasted.
Yeah, James, I'm telling you, Spider-Man 3 better be on your list, man. If Spider-Man 3 is not on your list, I know something.
I'm a roast you like a marshmallow.
What is going on?
So,
We ranked all the Spider-Man movies couple Sundays ago. Might have been longer than that.
Mm-hmm.
And I put Spider-Man 3 at number 7 out of all 11 of them. And my black card has been questionable ever since.
not your black card, man. Just
your nerd card, not your black card. Your movie card and your nerd card, definitely. Not your black card. I'm just gonna take that away from you. That's firmly yours.
He can
I will never let nobody take that from you. However, your credentials as a person enjoying movies and as a nerd, nah, I'm not having that.
It was all bad, bro. He was like, he kept going through them, and he was like, because I made him do like 10 through 6 first, right?
Yeah.
So then we could have the top 5.
Yeah.
And he kept going 10, 9, 8. I was like, where is Spider-Man 3 at? Like, I'm not seeing it. So So it was crazy. So next week we're gonna do like top 5 worst. We'll do top 5 worst superhero movies, and we'll talk about some other stuff about the week. So definitely check us out. We got a lot of other stuff coming up. We got some other groups of interviews that, like, say for instance, Victory Road, the podcast is doing. We have another interview with a new member of the Blur Syndicate. He's a D&D dungeon master. So we got one of those coming up, and we're gonna start
Yep.
working out and doing some other stuff with possibly maybe a Blur Syndicate D&D game. So you gotta check us out. So
Then we already have one of those. I know this Mr. Comfort.
yeah, but this one is run by a black dungeon master. So then it's going to make it so that we have like an all black like Dungeons and Dragons game,
Bro,
so
that's
that we could be able to have it from there. So it should be a fun time though.
yeah. Dungeons and Dragons adding the word nigga.
Yes. That's what I want. So low key, that's why I wanted to have like a black dungeon master. So then after that, if somebody be like, nigga,
Like,
what are you doing? You told you not to
It'll be
go over
okay.
there. So like that's
Oh
why
my
I want.
God.
That's why I want it, man. That's it though.
oh, that's beautiful.
So
I like
so we'll
that.
have to,
You're keeping it real for the culture. I like that.
absolutely, man. Because like the conversation that we had with him, it was a really good conversation, man. So it kind of shed some light on some stuff, and kind of being able to see a lot of the other sides of it. Um so yeah, man, it's a really cool thing to do.
Hey, look, I know I'm coming in. I just really got off. I try to speed home as fast as I can, so I'm sorry. But check this out.
What's up,
We should all cosplay one of these days.
man? That's what we're gonna do for like we're gonna get together. Here's the thing, we're gonna get together.
Because I'm going to be down there.
Well, we're gonna either do that one, or I think it'd be cool to do one like in like Dragon Con or something like that. And so it'd be something that we can check out from here. But we'll have to work on it. We'll do something together on that one.
Heard that.
So anybody else got anything that they need or want to say before we get out of here?
No.
Superman sucks.
Oh my God. Why would you end the show like that?
Because I told her I had a
What is that
Superman
about?
tattoo on my back, and she was like, "Hey, let's just dig it in there." She doesn't like Superman in the first place, but she
What?
feels like she hates Superman like I hate Hulk Hogan.
What?
I don't know.
Okay.
Accurate.
No, well, okay, well, damn, because I do not like Hulk Hogan at all.
Wow.
I'll be like everybody else. Like, when I say, hey, be like the Hulk, I'll be like, not like Hulk Hogan, F Hulk Hogan. That's how bad I feel about. I just don't like him. So it's all right for us to take you to take our money, but if your daughter wants to lay down with one of us, then all of a sudden we niggas.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I remember that.
So we remember Hogan. Oh yeah,
Yes, we do.
So, yeah, we got a lot of stuff coming out. We got an interview for the Victory Road podcast that comes out Thursday, and then we got our interview with Brandon, the Dungeon Master, the Black Dungeon Master. I got to get a better name because I don't like to just call him Brandon, the Black Dungeon Master.
That is,
but
it's giving me Black Master vibe.
Yeah. I got to do something about that. But his interview comes out Sunday with us, and just kind of be on the lookout. So we got a bunch of stuff coming out, and new t-shirts on the Blur Syndicate .com. Just go with the BS for the promo code so that you can be able to get your stuff too. So besides that, check everybody else out. KB, you want to tell them about Chaos in Your Kitchen?
Yeah, you can find me on the internet at Chaos in Your Kitchen. I'm on Instagram. I'm on TikTok. You can actually catch me real soon coming on a podcast of my own. Me and Chef Gambit got something working that y'all will be hearing soon. Appreciate you, Chef.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's where I'm at.
For
All
sure.
right, James, I had to put you on mute for a second, but you gonna come on off, man. You got anything else?
So I spent the last 4.5 minutes laughing, and I got in trouble with my mom, who is my version of upper management.
Uh-huh.
So I'm good now. I'm gonna go eat some good food. She makes stew. It tastes really good. Um, yeah. Thanks for listening to me talk nonsense again. I know
Yeah, yeah,
I
man.
know sometimes it's hard to listen to. KD, thank you for not ripping me a new one this time. I'm sure you'll have another time to do that. Um,
You're welcome.
and Chef Gambit, it was nice to hear from you again.
Absolutely.
Thank you for coming by.
Yeah,
And as always, Wyatt, thank you for inviting me to these kinds of things. I get to actually talk and be myself a little bit,
man.
no
Glad
matter
that
how outrageous it is. So thank you for that.
it's a okay. You know what I mean? I'm just interested in seeing what your top 5 list is gonna look like, or your worst superhero movies. Um, so we'll see. We'll have it all worked out here. But just for everybody else, thank you so much for hanging out with us. Thank you so much for listening. Be like the Hulk, not Hulk Hogan, F Hulk Hogan. Be like the Hulk, smash that follow button, and we're gonna love you 3000. But until then, we are out.
Absolutely.